Women Up Radio, designed to facilitate women's empowerment, improve your career, develop your talents, incorporate your passions, achieve fulfillment and success.
Hello, this is Anna Letitia Cook of Women Up Radio, supporting Empower Women and the Girls on the Road in their quest to support women entrepreneurs around the world. Fernanda and Taciana are visiting 24 countries, interviewing women and researching the conditions, business ecosystems, challenges and advantages that exist in each country. So today we're visiting the USA, which is supposedly the center of entrepreneurship and the origin of everything. So, hi Fernanda and Tassie, how are you today?
Hi Anna, very well. What about you?
I'm fine, thank you. So the USA is meant to be the center of everything for business, for entrepreneurship, for the lot. So what for you is the general vision of business, women in business, and particularly women entrepreneurs in the States?
Yeah, I think US, it's not only supposed to be all that, and in fact it is. In every report, in every ranking that you see, the US will show up in the first position as the most entrepreneurial and innovative country in the world. It has Silicon Valley as the reference for everything that is related to entrepreneurship, as so many people consider Silicon Valley like that. And, it supposedly it should be a paradise for entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, but it's not necessarily like that. And we had the chance to interview in different cities around the U.S., both in the West and East Coast.
Yeah.
Of course, they have, in terms of market, of resources, it's the U.S. of A. So, everything that they have, it is a powerhouse. And of course, entrepreneurship still is one of the main motors of the economy. But, women still have a marginal side, unfortunately, to hold this environment, which was, sincerely, it was kind of shocking to us, especially, and that was one of the main reasons that we started to thinking about the project.
Yes.
Because we were living pretty close to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Again, as many people say, the most innovative entrepreneurial place in the world. And from one moment on, we started asking ourselves, where are the women? Where are the women, founders of companies in this area? Yeah. Shouldn't be like this here. So it might have been a little bit naive, maybe from our part, but that the concept, that the idea that you have about Silicon Valley. And we have been hearing so many ugly stuff from there, in terms of harassment and, sexism, and it's in the history. But we really thought that would be different, but it's not. It's not. Of course, women in the US, they have a lot of resources, but the challenge that they face is no less than we've seen in other countries.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. Yes.
Okay, so, all right. Well, what does it mean if someone's a woman entrepreneur over there, tell me, what does it mean for them? What do they face?
Anna, as we were talking in previous episodes, women have to somehow to live up to a standard that is still very male-oriented. Yeah. So, of course, and especially when you're in the U.S., people have this idea that in U.S. is Silicon Valley, right? So yeah. We interview in both coasts, in the near San Francisco and the Silicon Valley area, also Boston, Chicago, New York. And what they say, of course, the resources are there. They're able to reach out for a lot of people, networks and investment, but still many of these resources are much more available for their male buddies, right? They have these ideas, they are very well prepared. They also, as we saw in other countries, they have been opening business in traditional areas, in tech technology, also in social enterprise. They see that they have a lot of opportunities in the U.S. Yeah. I think you of course, you live in a country that has the most powerful economy, but they still face the challenges also of they have to be the one who is going to choose between career and being a mother when you are married and you have a partner that has, a career, right? Still face the same issues that we saw in other countries as well. We didn't expect that in the US, but in terms of like childcare is not easy in the US. It's very expensive. A lot of women decided to work part-time as well so they can be able to take care of their kids because they want or because it's too expensive to put them someplace else.
Yeah. And I think because especially right now, many of the entrepreneurial activities in the US is led by tech.
Yes.
It is easy to learn that, for example, in Silicon Valley, only 3% of the tech companies, 3%, are founded by women.
Oh, really?
Yes, only 3%. And they keep saying, we have to keep proving ourselves much harder than our male counterparts, because especially those who have the money to invest in our country, in our companies, they still see our enterprises as a hobby. Okay, spending some time in trying to do this, but it's never going to last. So they face daily so many stereotypes and preconceptions that, of course, it's been like that all over the world, and we've been talking to you about this. But that was really much more shocking in the US, much more shocking. The level of sexism, of misogyny, and again, we mentioned everything that we've been hearing from Silicon Valley, and it's everywhere. It is everywhere. Yeah. So it's not easy to start a business. Of course, we all know that. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. But being a woman still to this day is it brings additional and very deep challenges. Yeah. Not even the US is free of it.
And I think this thinking about the US is similar to Germany. If like the general view is that both Germany, US are referenced in terms of, entrepreneurship, like strong economies. But when you go deep, you see that still women are not as, like, they're not the regular citizen as men are.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, so how does the business ecosystem compare? Because, I would imagine that it's got to be bigger and better, et cetera, et cetera. But yes. I'm wondering with that, is the fact that the US is so self-contained actually a block on people thinking about expanding or going into other countries? Or what's your opinion on the business ecosystem?
Amazing. I think that in the US you have all the universities. You have the top universities in the world in the US. You have lots of, like a stronger economy. Just the country itself is like a huge market for any enterprise. Really, it's not like when you go to smaller countries like Portugal or Singapore, they already have to be born with this idea of going global. In the US, of course, they're very ambitious. They wanted to go in global, but they have like 30 million people in their own country. So only US is already like a huge market for any enterprise. But of course, women also are thinking not only in the US, but beyond the US. They have investment companies, they have lots of grants, foundation. So I think if from all the countries we have been so far, US is the one who really offers a lot for entrepreneurship to a lot of, but of course, women have to be able to access all that, and they are. Maybe they face some more challenges that men don't, but this is like they're already used to, like not only in the US, in every country that we visit, but definitely US has been so far the most developed and friendly country when you are thinking about opening a business, in the way that it's very easy to open a business, less bureaucracy comparing to other countries. Yeah. And it's a very like self-made mindset, culture. Like, it's not like if you are being an entrepreneur there, doesn't mean like, oh my God, she lost her job, so now she has to do something. No, being an entrepreneur is as a matter of proud as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, the bottom line, the US, pretty much, they have everything that you would wish for in terms of, in the ecosystem, of course, all the right players, everything in place, except the right attitude.
Yes.
And again, we've seen that in other countries, but it was really shocking because it's funny because especially in the Western countries, and I can certainly talk about Brazil, we kind of have the US for so many years as reference of everything that works in the world. And, the right way of thinking, the right way of doing business, the right way of respecting its citizens. But it's not necessarily like that. Women, they still face pretty much everything, all the challenges that we've been seeing in other countries as well.
Oh, right. Okay, that's surprising. Okay. And what about challenges and advantages for the women there? Are there any particular ones that are different or stronger compared to the other countries?
I think in terms of advantages, like similar to Germany, let's say, people have this trust in things that are from the US.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like the business world, pretty much like English is the common standard, the language, and they don't have to make an effort to speak English, right?
Well,
yeah.
Many do.
Yes. They do have access to resource like internet, fast internet, right?
Yeah,
it's
basic things.
Yeah. I'm not saying that the entire US is completely provided with high speed internet, but of course we are talking about only the big cities we interviewed. Then we can compare big cities in each country.
Yes.
In each country. So they have things that we take for granted sometimes. Let's say in Cuba, they barely have access to internet. We mentioned already that.
Yes.
So in the US, just because they're in the US, they already have this advantage.
Yes.
US doesn't suffer any embargo do we know. So things that other countries have to deal with that doesn't happen to them.
Yes.
And I think there are the two aspects. One is, they have role models. They have women there in powerful positions. Not as many as we could wish for, but they do much more than in other countries. So that's important. They can see, women CEOs, women leading global businesses. So that's important because it's all about, our project is based on that because you can see other women doing and achieving everything that they have achieving. So you can feel inspired. Okay, I can do that. Others have achieved that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. They do have women in powerful positions, and they are stepping up and showing up themselves and really supporting women's cause to that extent. And the other thing is the level of maturity of women networks in the US.
Yes.
I think that really can be a game changer. So, and they are really powerful. They are impacting the environment. They are leading so many initiatives. And we've seen that in the West Coast, in Chicago, in Boston, in New York. Really, taking the matter into their own hands and saying, okay, we are going to try to solve this, and we have to start with ourselves and really supporting each other. And it's not only a matter of, build confidence. However, this is key. Of course, we all know that. But it's being more practical than that. Okay, what you need? You need networking. Okay, I'm going to personally introduce you to 10 people that might help you in your business.
Yeah.
You need money, you need to raise funds. Okay, I'm going to personally introduce you to 2 investors that invest in this industry that might be helpful to you. So these are practical things that actually benefit women entrepreneurs, especially those who are still in the beginning of their path. And I think that the US, this is a major thing that they have, that are benefiting women, definitely. And we could learn a lot from these initiatives.
It sounds great. That's really helpful. And so what about soft and hard skills?
Well, I think soft skills like networking, like American entrepreneurs, they're very good on that. I think the way that they connect to each other, they refer to a lot of people. They're really good in I think the culture as a whole is very based on network, who can you exchange insights and business opportunities. So I think networking there is a very big plus that they have.
They do know how to do that. But again, women do not take that much advantage as they could because they have to be at home taking care of the kids so many times. Yes. They are, the primary care. They have to take care of the family. So it all impacts your ability to network in the outside world. So definitely that's something that they have on their, the country does it really well, but women really have to be able to take advantage of all that. That's why the networks might be the game changer that they need right now.
Yeah. When you compare US with other countries, then of course we could say that other countries could, have them as an inspiration.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so is there any one key motivational difference in the US which would help other women around the world?
Something that has happened recently, of course. Now, women in the US, especially in the entrepreneurial world, they have been much more outspoken about everything that has been happening, everything that have been facing, for decades in terms of harassment. Yes. And not only sexual harassment, but moral harassment, you name it. Mm-hmm. So then being so outspoken about that, I think it's a great, very, very important motivator, not only for those who are in the US, but to women around the world. So, if you have to change, if you want to really change the situation, we have to address the elephant in the living room.
Yes.
We have to, to talk about it directly. Yes, we have to shame the men, who keep doing that, because we have to change their attitude. We have to change how complacent we are as a society in dealing with this type of business, this type of subject. So this is a great motivator for everybody, I would say, coming from the US.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much for all the information on the USA. It's interesting that they still have challenges when normally they're looked up as being sort of number one in everything to do with entrepreneurship. So it's interesting to hear what you've seen there. So our next program is going to be all about your home country, Brazil.